So dudes, with well over 60 characters in Rainbow Six Siege, who the fuck do I buy? This video is sponsored by me. I opened a Gregor store. You can get a hat. You can get another kind of hat. You can get a shirt. You can get a whole bunch of other kinds of shirts. You can get a coffee mug. And we're working on stickers, sweatpants, and more. Get some gamer drip. It helps out the channel. It helps out you, because you'll look really good in it. I promise. We got sizes ranging from small bean to Discord moderator, white, black, art student looking, Miami Vice, pink lemonade for the ladies. So go to gregor.store. It's not easy to remember. It supports the channel and it supports your fashion sense. Thanks again for sponsoring this video. I know, dude, it's a lot of information to take in. I'm gonna go through each role in the game on attack and defense, and pick out one slept-on operator that I think will add a component to your play that the enemy may never even see coming. We'll start on attack and then go to defense and swap back and forth. Our first one is Nokk. First of all, Nokk is the solo push queen, but aside from that, Nokk has benefited greatly from attacker repick. A big issue with Nokk beforehand was that it was just kind of tough to justify bringing a somewhat selfish character design to an attacking roster that needed their risks covered in the form of wall destruction, wall utility denial, roam clear, and flank watch. But in recent patches, Nokk has been made a lot more powerful than she used to be. Now her gun and utility got buffed. Her having frag grenades or can openers is nice, but I actually think the gadget has some very, very useful implications as well. The thing about Nokk's gadget is that it is very, very valuable for making contact plays. In English, Nokk can get map control in places where the enemy can basically have no reason to suspect her. If she gets past a camera with her cloak active and goes from one floor to the other, it can be common for defenders to cycle through cams and just assume that some footsteps heard on the second floor are indicative of an attacker still somewhere on the second floor, because no cross has been spotted on the cameras. This is nice to have on maps like Bank, where she's sometimes abandoned professional Siege because Bank is a very large map that's hard to gather information on. The defender's best bets are the default cameras watching the large open zones, or even the garage. Nokk will have no shortage of gaps to exploit on this map because there's simply too much for the defenders to cover. She can put herself in the right place at the right time, a lot of the time. I think Nokk is a great operator for fraggers, looking for a sleeper pick to throw into the mix every once in a while to catch your opponents off guard. Alright, my defense gunners. You guys need to get Oryx. This dude is so versatile in ways you wouldn't think. He's even getting some professional play, if you can believe it. I know at first glance, it may seem kind of weird. This dude basically Ed, Ed, and Eddie sound effects his way through walls. But he's also great for sight setup. He's very mobile, with a bit more health than a conventional 3-speed. Also, his gun is great. The T5 is a laser beam with decent damage output and a 1.5 times scope. There's a reason they took it off Malusi. Take it into TDM and you tell me this thing isn't a headshot machine. Oryx is more than just a goofy ranked operator, in my opinion. His speed can outpace even the most coordinated roam clears by attackers, not to mention his ability to traverse the map by jumping through hatches gives him great escapability, and even if he goes down swinging, the amount of time he wastes is valuable too. But if you want an operator to run around and gun with, then Oryx is, in my opinion, one of the more fun, less sweaty alternatives to an operator like Vigil that still provides a lot more for your team than you may realize. Osa is an operator with a high skill floor, so I think a lot of people are sleeping on her in ranked. In reality, Osa is a tremendously versatile character, despite the fact that she doesn't have destruction capabilities. No can openers, no frag grenades, no Gon 6. But her ability to set up plays for herself and her team makes her a must-buy for support players. Osa has a lot of the same functionality as Montang in the sense that she can push something and get free map control while allowing her teammates to play off of her for intel and kills. Unlike a conventional shield operator, though, Osa can go back and forth between the role of a scouting chess piece and as a gunfighter. Osa's guns are solid and come with magnified optics. More aggro players will probably get something out of the PDW, but my more passive approach suits the 5.56 that I'm using right now. When you claim map control, Osa can keep that map control by deploying her shield on the ground and set up angles for her team that were never there in the first place. Post plants and site executes are where she excels, either planting the bomb herself or helping her teammates plant. Osa is almost tailor-made for planning and protecting the diffuser, and in my book that makes her a great support character that you should pick up if you haven't already. Assuming your hard breach and utility destruction are covered, Osa is a great addition. On the flip for my anchor players, when you're talking about Warden, obviously, Sens is in the game, and it's going to shake things up quite a bit with their ability to block very wide sight lines with a button press. Now Warden is in an even more interesting position than he used to be. I've talked a little bit about how Warden is actually in a pretty decent position before Vector Glare, but now more than ever is the time to pick this guy up if you play Anchor. I think in some instances, just having a Warden on the board at all is going to be enough to dissuade people from bringing Sens. Obviously, Warden counters the shit out of Sense. Sense's whole shtick is making a line of sight wall, and Warden can render it unusable. Not to mention his MPX is a headshot laser beam with a 1.5 scope, and he's got C4 or deployable shield, depending on what you were trying to do. He's a pretty solid gunfighter, and he can effectively hard counter smoke executes or ying rushes. Having a Warden on the board is great for power positions that the attacking team might want to take very quickly. Obviously, the example I keep citing is top floor piano on Cafe. With an ADS and a deployable shield, Warden is very hard to get rid of without taking a heads-up gunfight with him. I think every Anchor player should have Warden in their roster in Vector Glare. If Osa is a little too backline for your tastes in terms of sight executes, may I introduce you to Capitao. The Captain is a great sleeper pick for flex players, in my opinion. His big-ass M249 LMG doesn't need to be reloaded very often, and at the right place at the right time, he can make a plant happen. The ability to have line of sight denial and area denial in one complete package is seriously understated. That area denial is not just useful for preventing enemies from peeking your diffuser guy, though. It's also great for pushing people out of positions that you want control of. I like to bring Capitao on Consulate all the time, simply because yellow stairs control is a very simple affair with him, assuming that there is not a Wamai on the board. Capitao bolt the top of yellow, and the defender there will have two choices: run downstairs to fight your teammate, or run through the doorway. And in ranked, a lot of people won't even look up at the skylight. Sometimes they'll just give you a free kill. Being at free speed also gives Capitao a great degree of movement flexibility and makes him more forgiving of mistakes in your positioning towards the start of the round. He can be anywhere he needs to be to take engagements or to help his team get the bomb down and win. Goyo still has 4 exploding lunchboxes that last a significant amount of time. They are easy to set up, and even if you die, your teammates can get something out of them. He's got a C4 and good guns, the Vector is nuts, and the TCSG has something for more long-range players with that 2x scope. Goyo isn't as efficient as Technica or Smoke, but he makes up for it with the ability to add a wrench to the defender's plans without having any additional input himself. Attackers will have to contend with a gadget that can stall their push at any given moment in time that can be shot from relative safety, without the need of being manually thrown and then acted upon like a conventional area denial op. Area denial of any kind in Rainbow Six Siege is very useful utility to have, and Goyo brings it in droves. Sometimes you can get cheeky with them and even put them on barricades to make a nasty surprise for attackers, should they inevitably shoot them out. Goyo can also be played really in whatever way you want. He can go for a more aggressive roam with his A10 Warthog minigun, or play backline with the TCSG. That can also be used for site setup if you really need it. Funnel-heavy maps like Oregon are where he shines. You can check out my how-to for this character at the top right corner of your screen. Thanks for watching. Deuces.